Some faces never fade. They don't just grace the screen, they define eras, inspire generations, and remind us that true beauty isn't just skin deep. In this video, we look at 50 plus of the most beautiful actors then and now in 2025. From teen heartthrobs to silver-haired legends, these stars have evolved, surprised, and endured. Some aged like fine wine, others changed in ways we never expected, but all left a mark. So sit back, relax, and let's revisit the iconic faces that once stole heart and still do. If you enjoyed this video, comment your country below. It's great to see our international community growing. Thanks for your support. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, born in 1962, has been Hollywood's action man for over 4 decades, and he's still going strong at 62. He shot to fame in the 80s with Top Gun and became a household name with the Mission Impossible franchise, where he famously insists on doing most of his own stunts. Even now, he's flying helicopters and jumping off cliffs like he's still in his 30s. Off-screen, Cruise is known for his intense energy, ever-youthful charm, and involvement with Scientology, which has sparked as much conversation as his box office hits. Love him or not, his face has barely aged and his career sure hasn't slowed down. Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, born in 1964, somehow looks like he barely aged a day since Speed or The Matrix, and now, at 60, he's still the coolest guy in the room. Known for his quiet charm and unforgettable roles in sci-fi and action hits, Keanu became a global icon with Neo, and then again with the unstoppable John Wick. But behind the fame is a humble man who takes the subway, gives away his earnings to crew members, and avoids the Hollywood spotlight. Fans call him the internet's favorite nice guy, and honestly, with that timeless face and kind heart, it's easy to see why. Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth, born in 1983, first caught Australian viewers' eyes on the soap opera *Home and Away*, before taking on Hollywood in a big way. His breakout role as the hammer-wielding Thor catapulted him into Marvel superstardom, and he's since balanced blockbuster action with comedic turns in films like *Ghostbusters*. Off-screen, this laid-back Aussie loves surfing, spending time with his family and cracking jokes that remind fans he's more than just a muscular god of thunder. Even at 41, he seems as energetic as ever, showing no signs of slowing down in or out of the gym. Paul Newman. Paul Newman wasn't just a movie star, he was a legend. With those piercing blue eyes and effortless charm, he lit up the screen in classics like *Cool Hand*, Luke *, and *Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid*. But Newman was more than just good looks and great roles. Off-screen, he was a race car driver, a devoted husband to actress Joanne Woodward, and a philanthropist who gave away hundreds of millions through his food company, Newman's Own. Even in his later years, he carried himself with quiet dignity and grace. When he passed in 2008 at 83, Hollywood didn't just lose a star, it lost one of its class acts. Antonio Banderas, born in 1960, first turned heads with his smoldering looks and intense eyes in Spanish cinema before Hollywood came calling. He broke through with *Desperado*, and stole hearts in *The Mask of Zorro*, all while keeping that unmistakable Spanish accent that became part of his charm. Later, he surprised everyone as the lovable voice of Puss in Boots in *Shrek*. Beyond the screen, Banderas is also a theatre actor, director, and even launched his own fragrance line. At 64, he still carries that same quiet charisma, aged like fine Spanish wine, with just as much fire and soul. David Charvet. David Charvet became a teenage heartthrob in the 90s, thanks to his role as the handsome lifeguard Matt Brody on *Baywatch*. Born in 1972 in France, he brought that perfect mix of European charm and California cool. After *Baywatch* and a run on *Melrose Place*, he made a surprising move. He left acting behind to focus on his music career, releasing French pop albums that did quite well back home. Later, he stepped away from the spotlight again to raise a family and focus on business ventures. Now at 52, Charvet may live a quieter life, but he still turns heads wherever he goes. Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, born in 1942, soared to international fame in the late 70s as the roguish Han Solo in Star Wars *, then went on to thrill audiences as the whip-cracking Indiana Jones. Interestingly, he was famously discovered while working as a carpenter for George Lucas. Over the years, Ford has balanced blockbuster success with a love of flying. He's a licensed pilot who often takes to the skies on his own. Now at 82, he's still gracing the big screen and carrying that wry, understated charm that turned him into one of Hollywood's most beloved icons. Jared Leto. Jared Leto, born in 1971, first made waves in the 90s teen drama My So-Called Life*, but he quickly showed he was more than just a pretty face. While he earned praise for roles in Requiem for a Dream and Dallas Buyers Club, the latter winning him an Oscar, he also built a huge following as the frontman of rock band 30 Seconds to Mars. Leto is known for taking his roles to extremes, fully immersing himself in his characters, including some infamous method acting tales. Despite his edgy performances and fearless style, he's defied aging in a way that keeps fans guessing how he looks so remarkably youthful at 53. Chris Evans. Chris Evans, born in 1981 in Massachusetts, began his career with small parts in teen comedies like Not Another Teen Movie*, but quickly leveled up to blockbuster territory. He first tested the superhero waters as the Human Torch in Fantastic Four*, yet it was his iconic run as Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that made him a household name. Off-screen, he's known for his laid-back humor, love for his rescue dog Dodger, and his willingness to speak out on social and political issues. Now at 43, he's still charming audiences, whether on screen, directing behind the camera, or simply showing off his famously warm smile in interviews. Which of these actors do you think aged the best, and which one had the most surprising transformation? Drop your pick in the comments below. Alain Delon. Alain Delon was the very definition of European cinema cool. Born in 1935, he became a French film icon in the 60s with roles in Purple Noon and Le Samouraï, earning worldwide fame for his striking looks and mysterious screen presence. Off-screen, he was known for his passionate personality and complex private life, often surrounded by beauty, fame, and a hint of scandal. Despite stepping back from acting in later years, he remained a revered figure in global cinema. When Delon passed away in 2024 at the age of 88, France mourned not just a star, but a symbol of classic cinematic elegance. Richard Gere. Richard Gere, born in 1949, has always had a quiet magnetism that made him one of the most iconic leading men of his time. He stole hearts in American Gigolo and cemented his romantic hero status with Pretty Woman opposite Julia Roberts. But behind that suave exterior is a deeply spiritual man. Gere has been a longtime advocate for Tibetan rights and a devoted Buddhist. While he's stepped back from mainstream Hollywood in recent years, he still acts selectively and enjoys life with his young family. At 75, he remains as graceful and grounded as ever, proving true charm doesn't fade with age. Richard Grieco. Richard Grieco became a teen idol almost overnight in the late 80s with his role as the rebellious Dennis Booker on 21 Jump Street*. With those smoldering eyes and edgy style, he quickly gained a cult following and even launched his own spin-off series. But acting wasn't his only passion. Grieco later turned to music and painting, calling his abstract art style emotionalism. While he stepped back from the mainstream spotlight, he stayed true to his artistic roots. Now 59, he may look different from his poster boy days, but he's still marching to the beat of his own drum, unapologetically original. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan, born in 1953, first gained attention playing a suave private detective on Remington Steele*, before stepping into the ultimate spy role as James Bond in the 90s. With his Irish charm and sophisticated wit, he became a fan favorite, breathing fresh life into the 007 franchise. Beyond Bond, Brosnan showed off his versatile talents in projects like Mamma Mia and remained active in environmental causes, becoming an outspoken advocate for marine conservation. At 71, he still exudes effortless class, on and off the screen, proving that true style never really fades. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe, born in 1964, was one of the original heartthrobs of the Brat Pack in the 1980s, thanks to films like Asterisk, The Outsiders Asterisk and Asterisk St. Elmo's Fire Asterisk. With those piercing blue eyes and Hollywood charm, he seemed destined for stardom, and he delivered. Despite some public setbacks early on, Lowe made a major comeback in TV with Asterisk, The West Wing Asterisk, and kept the momentum going in comedies like Asterisk Parks and Recreation Asterisk. Known for his wit, resilience, and seemingly ageless face, he's also embraced podcasting and wellness. Now at 60, Rob Lowe is still just as charismatic, and somehow still looks like he's in his 40s. Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze was the kind of star who did it all: actor, dancer, singer, and true heartthrob of the 80s and 90s. Born in 1952, he became a household name with unforgettable roles in Asterisk Dirty Dancing Asterisk, Asterisk Ghost Asterisk, and Asterisk Point Break Asterisk. His charm, athleticism, and emotional depth made him one of Hollywood's most versatile and beloved leading men. Off-screen, Swayze was a devoted husband and passionate horseman known for his humility and quiet strength. His battle with pancreatic cancer was brave and dignified, and when he passed away in 2009 at just 57, the world lost not just a star but a beautiful soul. James Marsden. James Marsden, born in 1971, has one of those faces that just doesn't seem to age. He first rose to fame as Cyclops in the Asterisk X-Men Asterisk movies, often playing the charming nice guy who doesn't always get the girl. But over the years he's shown surprising range, from romantic comedies like Asterisk 27 Dresses Asterisk to standout performances in Asterisk Westworld Asterisk and Asterisk Dead to Me Asterisk. Marsden also has a great sense of humor, famously poking fun at himself in the show Asterisk Jury Duty Asterisk. Now 51, he balances his matinee idol looks with an easygoing, self-aware charm that keeps audiences coming back for more. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, born in 1963, became a global heartthrob the moment he walked on screen in Asterisk Thelma and Louise Asterisk, and he's never really looked back. With standout roles in Asterisk Fight Club Asterisk, Asterisk Legends of the Fall Asterisk, and Asterisk Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Asterisk, Pitt has proven he's more than just a pretty face. He's a powerhouse performer with serious range. Over the years, he's also earned praise as a producer, winning Oscars behind the camera as well. His high-profile relationships may have kept tabloids busy, but Pitt remains refreshingly grounded. Now 61, he still carries that same effortless cool with a little more wisdom in his eyes and a lot of Hollywood history behind his smile. Grant Show. Grant Show rose to fame in the early 90s, captivating viewers as the lovable bad boy Jake Hansen on Asterisk Melrose Place Asterisk. Born in 1962, he actually appeared first in Asterisk Beverly Hills 90,210 Asterisk, before spinning off into that iconic role. Over the years, he's stayed steadily on our screens, from shows like Asterisk Devious Maids Asterisk to taking on the role of Blake Carrington in the modern-day Asterisk Dynasty Asterisk reboot. Though admired for his leading man looks, he's proven he has serious acting chops to back them up. Even in his 60s, Show still carries that easy charm and continues to reinvent himself for new generations of fans. Andy Garcia. Born in 1956 in Havana, Cuba, Andy Garcia moved to the US as a young child and rose to prominence in Hollywood with a memorable turn in Asterisk, The Untouchables Asterisk. His commanding screen presence and quiet intensity earned him an Oscar nomination for Asterisk The Godfather Part 3, further cementing his status as one of the era's leading men. Off-screen, Garcia is a passionate musician and producer, often showcasing his Cuban roots in various projects. Now at 68, he remains an enduring talent, bringing both gravitas and heart to roles that remind us why he's still one of Hollywood's most respected actors. Zac Efron. Zac Efron became a global teen sensation almost overnight as Troy Bolton in Asterisk High School Musical Asterisk. Born in 1987, he quickly graduated from Disney heartthrob to leading man, showing off serious acting chops in films like Asterisk The Greatest Showman Asterisk and asterisk extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile asterisk. Known for his charm, sculpted physique, and down-to-earth personality, Efron has also dived into environmental travel shows like Asterisk Down to Earth Asterisk, sharing a more thoughtful side of himself. At 37, he's evolved from pop idol to a versatile performer who's still got that spark and a lot more to say. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, born in 1956, became an international superstar with his intense blue eyes and fearless performances in films like Asterisk Mad Max, Asterisk, and Asterisk Lethal Weapon Asterisk. But he wasn't just an action hero, he proved himself behind the camera too, winning Oscars for directing and producing Asterisk Braveheart Asterisk. Later, he stunned critics again with Asterisk The Passion of the Christ Asterisk and Asterisk Hacksaw Ridge Asterisk. Despite controversies that shook his public image, Gibson slowly returned to Hollywood's good graces through powerful filmmaking and raw talent. Now 69, he's a rugged veteran of the screen, grayer, wiser, but still unmistakably Mel. Jonathan Schaech. Born in 1969, Jonathan Schaech broke onto the Hollywood scene with his memorable performance in Asterisk That Thing You Do, catching eyes as a charismatic frontman in the Tom Hanks-directed film. Over the years, he's proven himself equally at home in romantic dramas, thrillers, and even as the legendary Jonah Hex on TV's Asterisk, Legends of Tomorrow Asterisk. Outside of acting, Schaech has dipped into screenwriting and opened up about personal experiences, endearing him even more to fans. Now at 55, he continues to pop up in both movies and TV, still radiating the same easygoing charm that first won audiences over. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio, born in 1974, went from teen heartthrob in Asterisk Romeo, plus Juliet Asterisk, and Asterisk Titanic Asterisk, to one of the most respected actors of his generation. His performances in Asterisk the Aviator Asterisk, Asterisk the Revenant Asterisk, and Asterisk the Wolf of Wall Street Asterisk have earned him critical acclaim, and he finally took home an Oscar in 2016 after several memorable nominations. Beyond acting, DiCaprio is also a passionate environmental activist, using his platform to fight climate change. At 50, he's as relevant and in demand as ever, constantly evolving, always interesting, and still one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood. Jude Law. Born in 1972, Jude Law quickly established himself as one of Britain's most compelling actors, with breakout roles in Asterisk, Gattaca, Asterisk, and Asterisk, the talented Mr. Ripley Asterisk, earning critical acclaim and an Oscar nomination in the process. Known for his sharp features and a certain effortless cool, Law has effortlessly bounced between prestigious dramas, romantic comedies like Asterisk the Holiday Asterisk, and blockbuster fare such as Asterisk Sherlock Holmes Asterisk. Off-screen, he keeps a relatively low profile, balancing his busy film career with a love for theatre and time with his family. Now at 52, he's still bringing that blend of charm and intensity to every new role, leaving audiences eager for whatever he tackles next. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, born in 1958, rose to fame in the late 80s and 90s with his smooth voice, striking looks, and commanding screen presence in films like The Hunt for Red October and Glengarry Glen Ross. But it was his hilarious turn as Jack Donaghy on Asterisk 30 Rock Asterisk that redefined his career and earned him multiple Emmy Awards. Baldwin also became a staple on Asterisk Saturday Night Live Asterisk, thanks to his uncanny impersonations. Off-screen, he's been a lightning rod for headlines, yet continues to captivate audiences with his wit, talent, and unmistakable voice. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp first stole hearts in the late 1980s on Asterisk 21 Jump Street Asterisk, but his big-screen collaborations with director Tim Burton, like Asterisk Edward Scissorhands, were what really made him an icon. Known for choosing offbeat, deeply quirky characters, he struck box office gold as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Asterisk Pirates of the Caribbean Asterisk franchise. Over the years, Depp has dabbled in music, formed the rock supergroup Hollywood Vampires, and faced his share of headline-making ups and downs. Still, at 61, he remains one of Hollywood's most uniquely inventive actors, always unafraid to push boundaries on and off the screen. Do you think talent should matter more than looks when it comes to lasting fame in Hollywood? Or are great looks the real secret to staying relevant? George Clooney. George Clooney's career began with TV roles in the late 1980s, but he skyrocketed to fame with his role on *ER*, which earned him multiple awards and launched him into leading man status in Hollywood. His effortless charm, coupled with a deeply rebellious yet philanthropic nature, made him a beloved figure both on and off screen. From Ocean's 11** to *Gravity**, Clooney has proven to be an exceptional actor, director and producer. Despite his Hollywood heartthrob status, Clooney has managed to keep a low profile in his personal life, particularly after his marriage to human rights lawyer Amal Alamuddin in 2014. At 63, George continues to be a fixture in the industry, admired for his sharp wit and unassuming presence, whether on the red carpet or in a casual setting. Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas, born in 1944, is practically Hollywood royalty. His father was the legendary Kirk Douglas, and he forged his own path to stardom with iconic roles in *Wall Street*, earning him an Oscar, *Fatal Attraction*, and *Basic Instinct*. Despite facing health challenges, Douglas has shown remarkable resilience, continuing to grace the screen with his trademark intensity. At 80, he remains a living legend, one who's seen it all and still commands respect, both on and off the stage. Paul Walker. Paul Walker, born in 1973, was known as much for his captivating charm as for his heartfelt generosity. Launching his career with memorable performances in teen films, Paul achieved global fame as Brian O'Connor in the blockbuster franchise * The Fast and the Furious. Off-screen, he was a passionate advocate for marine life and co-founded the charity Reach Out worldwide, helping those affected by natural disasters. Tragically, Paul's promising journey was cut short in 2013 due to a car accident. Today, he's remembered fondly, not only as a talented actor, but as a genuinely kind soul whose legacy continues to inspire. Colin Farrell. Born in 1976, Colin Farrell rocketed to fame in *, Tigerland and *, Phone Booth *, wowing audiences with his Irish charm and intensity. He's since balanced blockbusters like * Minority Report * with offbeat gems like * In Bruges *. Off-screen, Farrell is known for his honesty about personal struggles and his philanthropic work. At 48, he remains one of Ireland's most versatile and magnetic stars. Adrian Paul. Adrian Paul, born 1959, became a household name in the 90s as the brooding, sword-wielding Duncan MacLeod in Highlander, the series. With his piercing eyes, athletic build and flowing hair, he was the very image of a romantic action hero. What many fans don't know is that he started out as a dancer and model before landing acting roles. Over the years, he's aged gracefully, trading his warrior's locks for a more grounded, distinguished look. Today, at 66, he still radiates strength and warmth, dedicating much of his time to his charity, the Peace Fund, helping children in need. His transformation isn't just physical, it's a reflection of a life well lived. Don Johnson. Don Johnson lit up television screens in the 1980s as Detective Sonny Crockett on Miami Vice, with his pastel suits, tanned skin, and smoldering stare, setting a new standard for cool. His rugged good looks and effortless swagger made him a pop culture icon practically overnight. Off-camera, his wild Hollywood lifestyle made just as many headlines as his acting, but time has been kind to Don. Now at 75, he's traded the wild edge for a warm smile and sharp suits. Still active in film and TV, he's also become a proud father to rising star Dakota Johnson, proving that charisma clearly runs in the family. Bruce Greenwood. Bruce Greenwood stepped onto the acting scene with a rugged charm and intense blue eyes that captivated audiences from the start. From his earlier roles in the 80s and 90s, he quickly established himself as an actor capable of handling both heroic leads and complex, intense characters. Widely recognized for playing authoritative figures, he notably portrayed President Kennedy in 13 Days and Captain Pike in the rebooted Star Trek films. Today, at 68, Greenwood gracefully embraces his silver hair, giving him an even more distinguished and sophisticated look. Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, with his steely stare and rugged jawline, became the face of the American Western in the 1960s. Whether he was the silent gunslinger in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, or the gritty cop in Dirty Harry, Eastwood oozed cool, commanding the screen with few words and a lot of presence. But behind that tough exterior was a deeply talented filmmaker. As a director, he went on to earn Oscars for Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby, proving his artistry extended far beyond acting. Now at 94, Clint remains a towering figure in Hollywood, quiet, enduring, and still wearing that iconic cowboy hat like no one else can. Gary Dourdan. Gary Dourdan rose to fame as the brooding and brilliant Warwick Brown on CSI, crime scene investigation, captivating viewers with his piercing green eyes and effortless cool. Long before CSI, he had that rare mix of model looks and natural charisma that made him unforgettable on screen. In his younger days, his laid-back style and signature dreadlocks turned heads everywhere he went. Now at 58, Gary still carries that same magnetic charm, only now with a polished, mature edge and a megawatt smile. Despite facing personal challenges over the years, he's continued to act, make music, and prove that real style never fades. Eddie Cibrian. Eddie Cibrian turned heads in the late 90s with his classic leading man looks, thick dark hair, strong jawline, and that effortless smolder. He quickly became a soap heartthrob on The Young and the Restless and found mainstream fame in shows like Third Watch and CSI Miami. Over the years, Eddie's style has matured beautifully. Now, at 51, with salt and pepper hair and a confident charm, he's embraced a more rugged, seasoned appeal. Off-screen, he's also known for his high-profile marriage to singer Leanne Rimes. Whether on the beach or in front of the camera, Eddie still brings that same cool, captivating presence. Eric Roberts. With those piercing blue eyes and signature smirk, Eric Roberts had a magnetic screen presence from the very start. He burst onto the scene in the late 70s and quickly earned critical acclaim, including a Golden Globe nod for King of the Gypsies and an Oscar nomination for Runaway Train. Now at 68, with his silver hair and sharp suits, Eric has embraced his elder statesman role while still working non-stop. He's appeared in hundreds of films and TV shows. Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler's rise to fame was anything but quiet. He roared onto the big screen as King Leonidas in 300, forever stamping his name in pop culture with the line, "This is Sparta." But even before that, his intense eyes and rugged charm made him a standout in romantic dramas and thrillers alike. Originally trained as a lawyer, Butler took a sharp left turn into acting, and fans have been grateful ever since. Now at 55, he carries a bit more grit and gravitas, with a weathered handsomeness that suits his action hero persona. Whether leading battles or breaking hearts, Gerard's appeal is as strong as ever. Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's transformation from baby-faced Brit to full-fledged superhero has been nothing short of cinematic. Early on, he turned heads with his classic features and polished style, but it was his role as Superman in Man of Steel that launched him into global stardom. With that square jaw, piercing blue eyes, and chiseled physique, he looked like he walked straight out of a comic book. Now at 41, Cavill has added depth to his on-screen presence with roles in The Witcher and spy thrillers, while still charming fans with his geeky love of gaming and Warhammer. Suave, sharp, and still super, Henry hasn't missed a step. James Denton. James Denton charmed millions as Mike Delfino, the rugged yet sensitive plumber on the hit series Desperate Housewives. With his striking blue eyes, easygoing smile, and casual confidence, he quickly became one of TV's favorite leading men. But fans might be surprised to know he initially pursued a career in advertising before his passion for acting took over. Now at 62, James carries a distinguished maturity. Beyond acting, he enjoys a quiet life with his family, far from Hollywood's spotlight. Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell has been charming audiences since he was a Disney teen star in the 60s, but it was the 80s that cemented his status as an action icon. From Escape from New York to Big Trouble in Little China, he played tough guys with a twinkle in their eye. That famous mane and rugged smile made him one of Hollywood's most effortlessly cool stars. Off-screen, he's known for his decades-long romance with Goldie Hawn, proving that lasting love is possible in showbiz. Now 74, Kurt still acts, Still rocks that silver hair and still reminds us why charisma never goes out of style. In a heartbreaking turn of events, Cesar Millan, formerly celebrated worldwide as the dog whisperer, collapsed in a Los Angeles courtroom after hearing his sentence, leaving everyone present in a state of shock. A wave of sorrow now washes over America as this devastating news spreads from the courthouse. Known to millions for his remarkable ability to communicate with canines, he once seemed untouchable. Yet now, people find themselves wondering what happens next had they truly believed this beloved dog behaviorist could never fall from grace. The rise and fall of a dog whisperer. To millions across the globe, Cesar Millan wasn't just a dog trainer, he was a legend. With his calm presence and almost mystical ability to tame even the most aggressive dogs, he became a household name through his long-running National Geographic series. Viewers were mesmerized as he turned chaos into harmony, guiding both pets and their overwhelmed owners toward balance. For almost 20 years, Cesar Millan stood as the global symbol of dog training. His hit TV show reached audiences in more than 80 countries, his best-selling books flew off the shelves, and his techniques were embraced by dog owners around the world. He preached a philosophy of calm, assertive energy, and championed the idea of the human as the pack leader, an approach that didn't just make him famous, it made him a multi-millionaire with a fortune topping $25 million. But as the science behind animal behavior advanced, the tide began to turn. Critics, veterinary behaviorists, animal welfare advocates, even disillusioned former clients started to push back. New research challenged the effectiveness and ethics of dominance-based training, casting a long shadow over Millan's once revered methods. The case against Millan took root nearly a year ago, sparked by anonymous tips that questioned the ethics behind his training methods. What began as a simple inquiry into his facilities quickly unraveled into a much deeper and darker investigation. Federal agents say they stumbled upon a trail of financial misconduct tied to Millan's global ventures and his charitable foundation. According to prosecutors, the famed dog trainer was at the center of a tangled web, illegally importing exotic animals for live demos, dodging taxes through his international operations, and diverting funds meant to help rescue animals. The picture they painted wasn't just of a man breaking the rules. It was of a celebrity who had used his fame as a shield, living as if the law didn't apply to him. The most damning accusation, and the one that sealed Millan's fate with a life sentence, centered on claims that his dog psychology center had unknowingly contributed to the deaths of several deeply traumatized dogs. Prosecutors argued that the training techniques used were not only harsh, but outright inhumane, pushing already fragile animals past their limits. They painted a haunting image of suffering behind closed doors, masked by a reputation for rehabilitation. Millan, however, stood firm in his defense. He claimed the dogs brought to his center were in critical condition, many already slated for euthanasia. His team had accepted them as a last chance, a desperate bid to save lives that others had given up on. In his words, these weren't victims of mistreatment. They were victims of circumstance. Controversy, courtroom, and a divided legacy. Hero or villain? Millan's rise to fame wasn't built overnight, and neither was his fall. His career, once celebrated, unraveled not because of a single misstep, but because of a pattern of questionable practices that finally caught up with him. Despite his captivating performances, his methods are often forceful and lack a logical basis. Numerous videos show him getting bitten, suggesting a lack of understanding and skill in handling dogs. This casts doubt on his knowledge of animal behavior and proper training techniques. Furthermore, Millan's practice of placing dogs in high-stress, potentially dangerous scenarios to correct them is problematic. These scenes, intended to be entertaining, are concerning because he pushes dogs into challenging situations without adequate psychological preparation. Such stressful exposure can worsen fear and instability, indicating that the focus is more on creating drama than on truly helping the animals. Numerous animal welfare organizations and veterinary professionals have criticized this approach, arguing that its emphasis on dominance through methods like leash corrections can induce stress and fear in dogs. They contend that such techniques are inconsistent with current knowledge of canine behavior. Moreover, Cesar Millan has faced legal scrutiny. having been called to court in connection with 3 prominent animal abuse allegations. A significant event involved the 2007 death of a dog named Baby, whose owner alleged that Millan's training methods caused the animal's demise. Baby's owner, Sarah, had an incredibly strong bond with her beloved dog. The small French bulldog, characterized by its large eyes and playful demeanor, had brought immense joy and unwavering affection into her life since being adopted from a rescue 3 years prior. Recently, however, Baby had developed anxiety and exhibited excessive barking, particularly around unfamiliar people. In search of a solution, Sarah turned to Cesar Millan, believing him to be the most qualified expert available. In 2007, Cesar Millan was at the peak of his popularity with his show Dog Whisperer. Sarah, having watched every episode, was mesmerized by his apparent ability to connect with and rehabilitate troubled dogs. She sincerely believed he was the only one who could help Baby conquer her anxieties and regain her former happiness. Filled with hope, Sarah contacted Millan's training facility and scheduled a private session. The training session was held in a spacious outdoor area at Millan's center. Sarah felt a degree of apprehension as she watched Cesar approach Baby. His demeanor was not gentle or affectionate, but rather projected an air of confidence and authority unlike any dog trainer she had encountered before. The session began with Cesar instructing Sarah to step back while he took Baby for a walk on his own. Sarah observed with a mix of curiosity and unease as Cesar began employing techniques she had seen on his show, including loud tst sounds, sharp leash corrections, and assertive body language. Initially, Baby seemed somewhat confused, but her anxiety soon intensified. The small dog attempted to retreat, her eyes wide with fear as Cesar continued to exert pressure. Sarah felt a pang of discomfort, but reassured herself that Cesar was the expert and knew what he was doing. However, as the session progressed, Baby began to pant heavily and showed increasing signs of distress. In one particular exercise, Cesar attempted to force Baby to approach a stranger standing several meters away. Baby reacted by barking aggressively and trying to get away, but Cesar held the leash taut, preventing her from retreating. Following a series of intense exercises, Baby collapsed. Sarah immediately rushed over, calling out her dog's name. Cesar quickly joined her, but it was too late. Sarah's little French bulldog was lying still, no longer breathing. Sarah was heartbroken. Tears streamed down her face as she held Baby's lifeless body in her arms. Grief and anger overwhelmed her. She had placed her trust in Cesar Millan, believing he would help her dog, but instead she felt his aggressive training methods had led to Baby's death. Sarah remains convinced to this day that Cesar Millan bears responsibility for Baby's passing. Similarly, the 2010 Layla case drew attention when the dog died after a seizure during filming. While the owners initially questioned Millan's training techniques, medical tests later revealed the death was due to epilepsy, a pre-existing condition unrelated to Millan's actions, according to People magazine. Nevertheless, incidents like these fueled public skepticism regarding the safety of his methods, especially when dealing with animals with health issues. The controversy peaked in 2014 when a video clip from Cesar Millan's Dog Whisperer with Cesar Millan went viral, depicting him using the alpha roll technique on a German shepherd named Daddy, resulting in accusations of animal abuse. In the video, Millan pinned Daddy to the ground, holding him on his back to assert dominance, while the dog appeared frightened and struggled to break free. Numerous viewers and animal rights groups, including the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior, criticized this action as violent, claiming it could induce stress and fear in dogs and was inconsistent with modern understanding of canine behavior. In response, Millan defended his actions, stating that Daddy was an aggressive dog with a history of attacks and that the alpha roll was necessary to control him and ensure safety for both the dog and those around him. He emphasized that this method was based on practical experience to establish leadership and that Daddy's behavior improved after the training, enabling him to live peacefully with his family. In a 2015 statement, Millan reaffirmed, "I always put the health and happiness of dogs first," emphasizing his commitment. While some experts supported him, arguing that the technique might be necessary in cases of aggressive dogs, the debate continues. The controversial video triggered widespread criticism, with many calling for a boycott of Millan's show and demanding he be held accountable. However, no legal action was taken, and the investigation concluded that Millan had not violated animal protection laws, according to the Los Angeles Times. Although the incident damaged his public image, he retained support from fans who found his methods effective, highlighting the polarization within the community. Do you think Cesar Millan deserves life in prison for his controversial training methods and past mistakes, or has the justice system gone too far? Let me know your take in the comments. I'm ready for some heated debate on this one. The third incident, considered the most infamous, resulted in Millan being summoned to court. US authorities investigated the famous dog trainer following allegations of animal abuse stemming from a controversial clip from his Cesar 911 inches show. Investigators from the Los Angeles County Animal Control Unit visited Millan's Dog Psychology Center in Santa Clarita to investigate the matter. The investigation was prompted by an episode in which Millan used a live pig during the training of a dog named Simon, who had a history of attacking pigs. In the episode, Simon bit the pig's ear, causing it to bleed before being stopped. This footage sparked widespread outrage from animal rights activists and the public, leading to numerous calls for an investigation and an online petition demanding the cancellation of Millan's show. Laura Nardo, a professional dog trainer who initiated the petition, described the scene as disturbing and stated that it was not an appropriate method for rehabilitating a dog aggressive towards pigs. The television network Geo Wild, which aired Millan's show, defended him, asserting that Cesar Millan had dedicated his life to helping dogs and created a controlled, safe environment at his center to rehabilitate aggressive dogs like Simon. They also stated that the pig that was bitten received immediate care and quickly recovered without any psychological trauma. However, the investigation continued, and despite strong defense of Millan's training methods by supporters and the network, investigators gathered further information and carefully reviewed the evidence. After investigation, authorities concluded that there were sufficient grounds to charge Cesar Millan with animal cruelty. As these stories emerged, experts in animal behavior began to speak out louder than ever. Dr. Eleanor Williams, a respected veterinary behaviorist, testified, "What we've learned about dog cognition and emotion in the past decade has completely transformed how we approach training. Methods based on dominance theory and force are not only unnecessary but can create or worsen behavioral problems. The science is clear on this." The prosecution initiated the trial by presenting a range of accusations, concentrating on earlier events and anxieties about Millan's training approach rooted in dominance. The prosecutor underscored that these techniques induced needless fear, stress, and in certain instances, physical injury to the very animals Millan professed to assist. Conversely, Millan's legal representative adamantly refuted these claims, asserting that Millan was a genuine animal enthusiast who had devoted his life to aiding troubled dogs and their owners. The attorney argued that while his methods might be contentious, they consistently aimed for the ultimate well-being and happiness of the animals. Throughout the strained proceedings, Cesar Millan steadfastly maintained his innocence, asserting that the unfortunate deaths of dogs at his center stemmed from their already compromised health. He characterized them as animals with severe psychological trauma, some of whom were scheduled for euthanasia before being accepted into his center, the most desperate cases, unwanted and deeply scarred. The situation dramatically shifted when the witnesses were called to testify. "These were dogs no one else would touch," testified Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a veterinarian who worked with Millan's foundation. "They had been severely abused, starved, used in fighting rings. Many had injuries and health issues that went untreated for years. Cesar was their last hope, and he took these cases knowing the risks because he couldn't bear to see any dog given up on without trying to help." Dr. Rodriguez's words paint a haunting picture. These weren't just difficult dogs. They were the forgotten ones, victims of cruelty, starvation, and brutal fighting rings. Many were broken in body and spirit with wounds, both physical and emotional, that had been ignored for years. No one else would go near them. No one, except Cesar. He stepped into the chaos with eyes wide open, knowing the danger, yet driven by something deeper, compassion. He couldn't stomach the idea of giving up on them without a fight. For these dogs, Cesar wasn't just a trainer. He was their last shot at life. And he took that responsibility personally, carrying their pain and their hope on his shoulders. One of the most heart-wrenching testimonies to emerge from the trial, largely ignored by major news outlets, came from Sarah Thompson, a 58-year-old elementary school teacher from Colorado. Her story wasn't about controversy or criticism. It was about a life saved, multiple lives in fact, during what began as a simple dog training session. Choking back tears on the witness stand, Sarah recounted a moment in October 2018 that changed everything. Her family was at a breaking point, terrified of what might come next. At the center of it all was Bear, a Rottweiler mix adopted to help her daughter Emma cope with crippling grief after losing her husband in a tragic car accident. Bear had become Emma's anchor, her emotional support, her reason to wake up every morning, but as the dog grew older, so did his aggression. Lunging at strangers, snarling at other dogs, becoming a danger they couldn't control. They tried everything. Trainers came and went. Medications failed. Nothing worked. When Bear attacked a delivery driver, animal control gave them an ultimatum: correct the behavior or Bear would be euthanized. Emma was shattered, Sarah said softly. She had already lost the love of her life. Losing Bear too, it would have destroyed her. With nowhere else to turn, Sarah wrote a desperate letter to Cesar Millan. She never expected a reply. But then came the call. Cesar was coming. It felt like someone had thrown us a lifeline, she said. In that moment, we didn't just get a dog trainer, we got hope. For the Thompsons, Millan's visit didn't just save a dog, it saved a daughter. It held their family together when everything else was falling apart. Millan arrived at their mountain home on a brisk autumn morning. What viewers never saw, because the episode never aired, was a moment that had nothing to do with dog behavior and everything to do with human survival. He'd been working with Bear for about an hour, Thompson recalled, when he suddenly stopped and quietly asked my daughter if she'd been getting headaches. Emma admitted that yes, everyone in the house had been feeling off. They assumed it was stress. Millan asked to open a few windows. As fresh air swept in, he pulled Thompson aside and spoke in a hushed, urgent tone. He told her he suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. The headaches, the confusion, the flushed faces, signs he'd seen before. Even Bear's aggression, Millan believed, wasn't behavioral, but a desperate attempt to protect the family from an invisible killer. Without causing alarm, he had one of his crew members quietly call emergency services. Then he suggested the family continue Bear's training in the backyard. Within minutes, they were all safely outside. Fire trucks arrived 20 minutes later. A faulty heating system was leaking dangerous levels of carbon monoxide. The fire chief later told them the levels were lethal. They likely wouldn't have survived another night. When asked how she knew Millan had identified the danger, Thompson didn't hesitate. The paramedics asked who had recognized the signs, and Cesar said he'd seen it once before in another home with a suddenly aggressive dog. He followed up with the family for months, not about Bear, but about their health. Bear's behavior drastically improved once the gas was gone. With Millan's steady hand, the remaining issues were resolved through proper training. Today, Bear is a therapy dog, working with children who struggle to read, calm, focused, and gentle. Cesar Millan didn't just save our dog, Thompson said, her voice trembling. He saved my daughter, my grandchildren, and me. He saw what no one else did, acted without fanfare, and disappeared without seeking credit. That's who Cesar really is. Then came the testimony of Gloria Sanchez, a 62-year-old kindergarten teacher whose story moved the courtroom to tears. My son David was 4 when a neighbor's dog attacked him, she said, voice shaking. The trauma left him terrified of all dogs, parks, school, playdates. It all became off limits. By his teens, fear had turned into isolation, depression, and anxiety. Therapy helped little. The family was losing hope. One night they watched Cesar's show. Something about his calm, intuitive way with animals caught David's attention. For the first time, he showed interest instead of fear. They reached out to Cesar's center, never expecting a response. But Millan wrote back personally, inviting them to his ranch. He spent the entire weekend with David, slowly introducing him to balanced, gentle dogs, teaching him not just about behavior, but about understanding fear. Cesar told my son something I'll never forget, Sanchez said through tears. Fear is not respect. Respect is not fear. Once you know the difference, you'll never be afraid again. He refused any payment. Helping David was enough, he told her. Today, David works as a vet tech and volunteers in trauma therapy programs for children. His life changed entirely. That's the real Cesar Millan, Sanchez said, her voice firm. A man who gave his time and heart to a boy he didn't know because that's just who he is. Another powerful voice came from Angela Martinez, a single mother who saw both her son and their dog saved by Millan. My son Miguel was 16 when everything fell apart, she said. His father had abandoned them. Miguel turned angry, rebellious, falling in with a rough crowd. Their German shepherd, Rex, began acting out too, territorial and aggressive. After Rex snapped at a neighbor's child, they were given a choice: fix his behavior or surrender him. They couldn't afford help, but Miguel idolized Cesar. He stood outside a local workshop venue for hours, hoping to glimpse him. What happened next stunned them. Cesar noticed Miguel, asked why he wasn't inside, Martinez recalled. When Miguel explained their situation, Millan not only let him in for free, but offered to visit their home afterward. That's from homeless dreamer to household name. Cesar Millan was born on August 27, 1969, in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico. From the time he was a young boy, dogs weren't just part of his world, they were his world. At just 11 years old, he wasn't merely caring for dogs, he was connecting with them on a level few ever do. That deep understanding became the foundation of everything he would one day achieve. At 21, driven by a dream too big to ignore, Cesar crossed the border into the United States in 1990, determined to create a better life. But Los Angeles didn't welcome him with open arms. He arrived with no money, no English, and no safety net. For a time, he slept on the streets, surviving day by day. He washed cars, walked dogs, and groomed pets, whatever it took to stay afloat. But even in those hardest moments, his focus never wavered. He watched, he listened, he learned. He studied the way dogs moved, how they responded to energy, and slowly began shaping his signature method: calm, assertive leadership. Fate took a turn when he crossed paths with actress Jada Pinkett Smith. After witnessing his gift with her own dog, she did more than thank him. She paid for an English tutor so he could communicate his knowledge more clearly. With time, hard-earned savings, and sheer willpower, Cesar opened his own dog psychology center in Los Angeles. Soon, whispers of the dog whisperer spread like wildfire. The big break came when the New York Times ran a feature on him. That article sparked a call from National Geographic, offering him a chance to bring his methods to the world. In 2004, Dog Whisperer with Cesar Millan premiered, and everything changed. Each week, viewers watched in awe as he stepped into homes filled with chaos and fear, and through patience and presence, restored peace. His philosophy went deeper than obedience. It was about energy, self-awareness, and emotional harmony. As he often said, to change a dog, you must first change yourself. The show ran for 8 seasons and made Cesar a household name. His books, including Cesar's Way and How to Raise the Perfect Dog, became instant bestsellers. But more than fame or fortune, Cesar Millan became a symbol of hope, for owners at their wits' end and for anyone who believed in second chances. His journey from a homeless immigrant to a global icon wasn't just inspiring, it was proof of what's possible when passion meets perseverance. Over 2 decades later, his voice, his vision, and his message continue to resonate, grounded in one timeless truth: the bond between human and dog is sacred, and when treated with respect, it can change lives. Sunday, everything changed. Millan spent hours with them, but it wasn't just about Rex. He spoke directly to Miguel about discipline, energy, responsibility. I saw my withdrawn, angry son listening, really listening for the first time, she said. When Millan pointed out that Rex's aggression mirrored Miguel's anger, a switch flipped. Your dog reflects your energy, he told the teen. When you're angry, he tries to protect you. When you're calm, he can be too. Miguel began waking early to train Rex, following the structure Millan taught. He returned to school. His grades improved. He left the gang crowd behind. Later, Millan offered him a summer job. That job became a future. Today, Miguel runs a rehabilitation center for abandoned dogs and mentors at-risk youth, kids like he once was. Dozens of families have been touched by Miguel's work, Martinez said, and it all started with Cesar Millan. But perhaps the most unexpected testimony came from Martha Winters, a 72-year-old grandmother from rural Tennessee. Fragile but determined, she traveled across the country to tell a story that had never made headlines. "I live alone in a cabin deep in the Smoky Mountains," she began. After her husband passed, her children begged her to move, but she stayed. Her only companions were 3 rescue dogs, Bella, Max, and Cooper. One February, during a fierce snowstorm, her power failed. Night approached. Her generator wouldn't start. She was trapped in the cold. Through the blizzard, she saw a car had slid into a ditch on her driveway. Inside was Cesar Millan, lost on his way to a speaking engagement. He made his way through the snow, found her shivering, and sprang into action. With no power or phone service, Millan made the call. Move to the barn, build a fire. He gathered supplies, made a shelter from hay, and used the dog's body heat to keep her warm. "He talked to me all night," Winters said, wiping tears. Stories from his childhood in Mexico, how he crossed the border with nothing. "I think he was keeping me awake on purpose, knowing sleep could be fatal." When morning came, he hiked through deep snow until he found cell service. Help arrived soon after. Paramedics told her she wouldn't have survived without the fire and the dogs. Millan never spoke of the event. It only came to light when Winter's daughter saw his trial on TV and reached out to his legal team. "He didn't even remember my name," Winters said, smiling. "He just called me the lady with the 3 beautiful dogs." That's who he is. He didn't want credit. He just did what had to be done. Despite an outpouring of poignant accounts from numerous witnesses, the jury ultimately handed down a guilty verdict on the gravest allegations. When Judge Raymond Morris pronounced a life sentence, the atmosphere in the courtroom turned electric with shock. Cesar Millan, who had managed to keep his composure through most of the proceedings, finally broke. Observers described how the usually collected dog behaviorist appeared to buckle beneath the weight of the judge's pronouncement. "I've only ever wanted to help," Millan said, voice trembling during his closing remarks. "To create balance, to save dogs others had given up on, to teach people that with patience and proper leadership, relationships can heal. If I have failed or made mistakes along the way, I accept responsibility for those specific actions, but my heart has always been in the right place." What do you think? Was justice truly served, or was Cesar made a scapegoat for a broken system? Let us know in the comments below. Security personnel stepped in to escort him out, but before they could lead him away, Millan offered a deeply emotional plea to everyone who supported him. "Please take care of the dogs. Dog in America. The food comes to him, so the dog doesn't have to work for food, right? So the dog gets praised by everything. Don't abandon the principles of calm, assertive energy. Balance is still the key for dogs and for life. This work must continue, even if I cannot be the one to lead it." Tears were not contained that day. Even among some jury members' eyes were wet. Outside the courthouse, hundreds of people gathered, many with their own dogs and signs declaring, "Who will help the helpless dogs now?" And Cesar saved my family. Among them, there was a special wave of sadness felt by mothers and grandmothers who viewed Millan not merely as a trainer, but as a guiding influence whose lessons extended beyond dog obedience and into everyday family life. "Cesar didn't just teach me about dogs," said Patricia Williams, 67, a grandmother of 5. She credited Millan with transforming a reactive rescue dog into a calm companion. "He taught me how to set limits gently, how to stay composed in a crisis, and how every ounce of energy in a home matters. I used his approach with my grandchildren, and it changed everything. It made me a better grandmother." Williams is just one of thousands who've penned letters of support to Millan in prison and contributed to his legal defense fund for the upcoming appeal. When we were about to give up on our troubled dogs, he gave us hope. We aren't giving up on him now. Elizabeth Morgan, 59, traveled all the way from Seattle to witness the sentencing. Alongside her stood her former problem dog, now a steadfast service animal, a German shepherd once labeled too aggressive to be saved. "Before Max, I was confined to my home by PTSD," Morgan said. Affection reflected in her touch as she stroked the dog's head. He was scheduled to be put down because of his behavior, but a trainer using Cesar's methods tried one last time. Now he alerts me before panic attacks, guides me through public spaces, and has given me my life back. She paused, then added, "There are so many dogs like Max, and So many people like me, all indebted to Cesar's work. Millan's legal counsel, meanwhile, remains moderately hopeful about the forthcoming appeal. They point to a series of procedural concerns they believe could challenge not just the conviction, but also the unexpectedly harsh sentence. A life sentence for non-violent charges related to training methods is beyond excessive, insisted lead attorney Rebecca Martinez. We maintain Mr. Millan's innocence on the most serious accusations and are convinced the appeals court will acknowledge the significant legal problems in this case. Through a touching letter released by his family, Millan expressed gratitude for the ongoing encouragement and reaffirmed his commitment to his life's mission, even from behind bars. My body may be confined, but my spirit remains dedicated to creating balance and harmony between humans and dogs. Each day, I receive countless letters describing lives changed and dogs rescued because of the principles I was blessed to share. These messages keep me going. Please continue this mission of rehabilitation and second chances. Our work has always been about more than dog training. It has been about opening hearts, minds, and homes to animals who need us. That work must go on with or without me. His supporters, unified in their resolve, pledged to carry his legacy forward while also seeking justice for a man who taught them how to remain calm and assertive in life's fiercest storms. Time may change appearances, but true star power never fades. Whether gracefully aging or boldly transforming, each of these actors carries a legacy of beauty, talent, and unforgettable moments. They've shown us that charm isn't measured by age, it's measured by presence, passion, and the power to captivate. Which transformation surprised you most? And which star do you think aged the best? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more timeless stories.